most gay people that I've spoken to or interviewed, male and female, have said that there was some sort of traumatic event that happened to them in their childhood, whether it was being molested, by a relative, raped, I remember there was the guy who, hide your kids, hide your wife, they raping everybody. I interviewed him, and he used to be gay. He was raped, he said, as a child. He was 12 years old, some dude grabbed him and raped him. And he became gay after that.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you.
And then at one point he said, you know something? I don't want to be gay anymore. I want children, I want a wife, whatever. And he made the conscious decision to be straight, and now has a child, has a
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. That goes to my point. It's about the event that creates the situation. I don't think, you can be born. Maybe you are. I don't know if you were born gay. I don't know if it's a gay gene. I don't know if it's something that you're just born with. But for the most part, like you said, there are traumatic situations that dictate when someone goes contrary to their birth sexuality. There are and a lot of times people don't know. Kids could be being raped at 2 years old. They don't know they was raped. A lot of times they can't even get back to that time and
that's I was talking to a friend of mine about this recently, and that's why pedophilia is such a tragedy, because it's so easy to do. You see what I'm saying? It's like a man trying to rape another adult female, you gotta really plan that out. You gotta either physically beat her up or drug her and risk someone seeing or something. But if someone's just watching a child by themselves, they could do whatever they want to that child. The child not gonna say anything, or if they say something, it's not gonna sound right. Most people aren't gonna believe them. And this is why they could get away with this type of thing over and over again. I interviewed Margaret Cho, the actress, and she said,
well, yeah, I think that when you're traumatized early on in life, then the trauma repeats itself. And so that wasn't the only situation where I had experienced abuse. There was a number of things. But when you're sort of introduced into sort of abuse, it continues on. So that actually probably wasn't the most traumatic experience, but it was the earliest. So that this sort of continued to happen over time, and I didn't really understand it until much later. But yeah, it's very common, and it's also very weird.
And it's sad.
It is. It's very sad, man.
And this is why, when I remember all the countries got together at one point to decide what is and is not allowed on the internet in their particular countries. Because you go to Brazil, and bestiality is considered fine. I remember I was in Rio, and I walked by one of these porn stores, and there was videos with girls and dogs, and right there in the window. And I was like, this is crazy. But over there, that's considered fine.
That's what I'm saying. It's cultural.
But pedophilia is not allowed. Everyone frowns on that across the board.
That's right. But a lot of the pedophiles, they're having the same argument that the gay people are. That we were born this way too. So what do we do? Historians are saying that that's the next fight. That the pedophiles are gonna fight for the same rights. I'm not saying this. They're gonna get any type of thing. Well, but there is a very strong underclass of influential and powerful people who engage in that lifestyle.
Well, you don't even have to go that far, because when you look at the age of consent in certain states in the US, it's 15, 16. In certain states, 16 is considered perfectly legal.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Which I think is insane. Unless, it's a very small, 18 and 16, I feel is that's pretty close. That's a high school senior and a high school sophomore, that's whatever. But a 16-year-old and a 40-year-old is
that's
crazy.
What could you even see in a 16-year-old?
Right. Clearly that is your thing.
Yeah, that's my thing.
You're a pedophile.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, but whether we like it or not, the reality is that gay culture is now much more part of mainstream culture. Like there was literally, we put up a video of a Coca-Cola commercial, which showed this young, attractive, pool boy, with his shirt off and he's all sweaty, and from the window, this girl and her gay brother are both trying to run at him to try to get at him first. And this is Coca-Cola, which is one of the biggest corporations on earth. You see what I'm saying? And they're putting out these commercials.
It's a different world we live in, Vlad, and that's one thing about, if you're biblical, that they say in the end you won't be able to tell the difference between man and woman, night and day. There will be no boundaries.
End of days.
The end of days, and that's what we're coming there. It's like there's no boundary. Wherever there's no boundary, there's chaos. It has to be some level of boundaries. It got to be, okay, we can't do this. Because the more that we say that we evolve, we knock down a barrier. The more barriers, then there's no barrier. And once everything is, then what defines anything? What defines you? Like people say, and then what you wear don't matter. I can wear dress up. All right, so why would you want to? Why would I want to put on clothing that would suggest that I was something other than I am? That would give anybody, what is my point of doing it? What am I trying to do? I'm not a woman. I don't want my curves to be looking in a dress or spandex. So what would be my point of doing it? Just to say I did it? What are we doing?